How's it going, everyone? Jesus here, aka Tyrant Dominus, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Honestly, Anchor is a very enjoyable platform to be on, listen on, and just a joy to be a part of this community. Anchor, come check us out.
And welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here to bring you another movie review. This time around, we're going to be talking about the Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. This Conjuring film is I think it's the probably the ninth film in this kind of Conjuring verse. It's one of the few movie universes that a lot of people don't really talk about too much, but it's, in my opinion, one of my favorites. The Devil Made Me Do It. Basically, we come back with Ed and Lorraine, but in this, it's an interesting film in the sense that, well, it's sort of a horror mystery, and I like the approach that the director goes. The story is still by James Wan, David Leslie and Johnson. Wait, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick? Damn. So people with really long names kind of surprise me. But anyways. It's still the story's still by them, but this one's directed by Michael Chavez or Chavez. So when getting into some of the Conjuring films, the cinematography for this film is wonderful. The story is pretty interesting, and it's a little bit the way they lined it out. It's different from some of the other Conjuring films in the series. So let's kind of get a little bit into the plot without any spoilers. So the plot for The Devil Made Me Do It follows Ed and Lorraine in one of the most interesting court cases in the United States system, where not victim, a suspect? Yeah, I think it's a suspect. I forget what they're called. I just literally finished watching it. Where a suspect who is accused of murder claims demonic possession as the defense. Prior to this, there have only been two other court cases in the UK that have claimed demonic possessions, which is really interesting for this movie franchise, because for us, the audience, we know what's happening in this universe. So it's interesting kind of trying to see how you're trying to convince the average individual. I like this film in particular because it expands the lore of the world, adding a little bit more twists and turns to what's happening, and just adding more substance to the world, and building up a little bit more of Ed and Lorraine's characters a little bit more. And so basically the suspect, what's the name of the guy of who's being accused? Come on, where's the name of the guy? Godfather. So kind of okay. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of the intro, a little bit. So it's the film kind of starts out with an exorcism of an 8-year-old boy, David, and is attended by his family. Just your classic, exorcism, classic. And during this incident,
look at that shit.
I know, phone. During this incident, the kind of basically the demon gets a handle and knocks out the priest, puts Ed into kind of a coma through a heart attack, and the only way to kind of save the boy David is by the main victim of this, Aaron, I think that's how you pronounce his name, has the demon possessed him instead of staying in the boy. Later throughout the film, we kind of get a little bit more into what's happening, because, like I said, this film is not your classic trying to find out what the demon is or what the haunting is or anything like that. It's a little bit more mystery, hunting down what caused the demon, what's causing all this, and I like it because it still has that flavor when you expect for the Conjuring style films, where you get these like really nice shots that kind of hold your attention and just spook you, and just these moments, while adding kind of a more later through the second and third act, just adding more lore to the world. The performance of I can't remember the actors, like Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I think that's how you pronounce her. Their performances, again, as Lorraine and Ed, do a wonderful job again. And the score is really good. Like, overall, the film, if you know what you're getting into, you're just getting into another Conjuring style film. If you're ready to get spooked, I would say this is a little bit less spookier than some of the other films. Still creepy, but the least eerie in my opinion, but more lore heavy. The only thing that I did not like is kind of the cheesiness towards the end. There's like this few little moments that are kind of cheesy, but you kind of have to do something. But besides that, it wasn't that bad. It's, for the most part, it was enjoyable. Like, the entire film was just good. A lot of just good shock parts. A lot of suspense. Exactly what I was hoping for a Conjuring movie. So, my review for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I'm gonna give this one a 9. It's a solid 9 for this film. There's a few little things that I would nitpick at the end. I'll talk about that in spoilers. But yeah, it's just a wait. I'm gonna give it an 8. Change it as an 8. I kind of wanted more horror for this type of film. Yeah, I think I would want a little bit more suspense, a little bit more just like eeriness that these films. So I'm going to drop it down to an 8, just because of that. It could have used a little bit more. I like what they did with lore, but I kind of want a little bit more horror. But still a good film. So I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to get into spoilers. So anyone, if they've listened this far, thank you for listening. Go ahead and click out or anything if you don't want to hear me talk about any of the spoilers. Then it's gonna go ahead. So, spoiler time. So, for this film in particular, we're getting like into a mystery. Basically, Ed and Lorraine are basically trying to find out what this demon is trying to do, and through some investigation and snooping, they find out that this demon is not like normal. It's been summoned. It's like not a natural demon. Someone summoned it here to do something. It's like being summoned by a witch or something. And which, like I said, it just brings lore, because for the most part in all these other films, every time we've seen them, it has been just a demon out for a rampage. I think in The Nun there was some summoning, but this is like the first time we get a human antagonist. Like there's an actual individual, a human face, and this is what's interesting about this film, is adding a human villain for the most part, because throughout the investigation they're trying to find out connections what this demon is. They find this artifact and just little things going back and forth to then find out that there's an actual person who's cursing people. And I liked kind of how they're explaining stuff like, oh yeah, this curse for this demon, it makes you kill someone, and after you kill someone it makes you kill yourself. Like, okay, that's pretty interesting. And the Warrens are just trying to figure it out, and throughout this adventure they meet up with a couple people. Like they meet a former priest named Kestner, who actually was for almost a decade spent his time just trying to understand cults, Satanists, and just trying to understand who and what they are. Later to find out that he's the father of the villain. Like, oh, okay. I should have seen it coming. It kind of is. It's kind of weird. He has like this weird funny moment when you first meet him, and he's like greeting the Warrens, like, and I just chuckled a little when he said, like, I can't shake your hand, I have chicken shit in my hand. And like, okay. I kind of had a chuckle, but then to kind of get a little backstory, like, yeah, that makes sense, trying to raise a kid in a place where you keep all this occult stuff. Yeah, when your studies are like, oh yeah, I'm trying to understand what these people are crazy about. And then just kind of the adventure of trying to find this woman. Did we ever get a name for the cultists? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't. Looking at some of this stuff. Yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't see any of that. Okay. Yeah, overall you get the final like showdown. It's kind of interesting, and it's just a classic fight. The cheesy part that I did not like is they had this moment towards the end where Ed gets kind of mini cursed. I'm gonna just say mini cursed or hexed. Oh yeah, hexed. I'm gonna say hexed. He gets hexed and he's just attacking randomly, and he starts attacking Lorraine. And they have this moment like, yeah, he's controlling you. The only thing that's stronger than that, they think love is our weakness, but no, it's our strength. Like, oh yes, love, that's gonna protect you. Sure, why not? Okay. If that's gonna be what it is, sure. And yeah, it just they break out of it. They break the altar that's causing all this stuff, and yeah, they take back the cup that was used at the altar. We get a fun scene where you see Ed putting away another artifact in the secret room. I don't know what to call it. With the painting of Valak and the Annabelle doll, and then we kind of get the title card of that Aaron was sentenced to manslaughter and ends up spending 5 years in jail. And yeah, and you kind of get this like sweet moment at the end overall, it's not. It was, like I said, it was a solid 8. It could have used a little bit more jump scares, or just a little bit more horror. But the mystery overall held it together. So yeah, those were my final thoughts for the film. Anything else that was interesting? No, just another good film. All right. So if you listened this far, thank you for listening. I hope this movie franchise continues. I want to see what other things they'll bring out, because now that they started adding human villains, we can see what other things can come about. So thanks again for listening or watching. Until next time, see ya.